One of the overlooked areas in terms of cost optimization in AWS Cloud is DynamoDB tables. DynamoDB tables can grow quite rapidly and can add up to your cost in no time. In this video, I'm going to explain a working methodology as how to do cost optimization of DynamoDB tables for existing tables or if you are planning to create new tables. Before we delve into the demo side of things, let's go over a few of the concepts in terms of DynamoDB tables cost savings. First and foremost, make sure that you know the configuration of your DynamoDB tables. What it means is that you should be aware that what is your capacity mode, what read and write capacity your DynamoDB tables are using, what is if you are using any reserved capacity, what is the table class, and last but not least, tagging should be there. Now let's get into a little bit more detail here. So when I say read write capacity, what it means in simple words is that the read write capacity mode of a DynamoDB table controls how you are charged for read and write throughput and how you manage capacity of your table. And the most important decision here in terms of DynamoDB table is to make sure that you are using the right capacity mode. And here is how to make that decision. There are two capacity modes in DynamoDB table. One is called as on-demand and the other one is provisioned. On-demand capacity mode is good option if you have unpredictable application traffic and you are not sure how many reads and writes would there be in your tables. So in that case, you should always be selecting on-demand mode. With on-demand mode, you pay only for what you use. If you can have configured a table as provisioned capacity mode, then you are charged for provision capacity even if you haven't consumed any IO. So if you have unused DynamoDB table in your account, you can reduce the cost of your unused table using on-demand mode. But remember, on-demand is more expensive than the provision mode. In the provision mode, as we already have mentioned, that whether you use it or not, you pay for it. So provision mode is a good option if you have predictable application traffic where you have an approximate idea how much reads and writes you are going to make. So you can use this mode to forecast capacity requirements and control cost. One more important thing to remember is that in DynamoDB table, we use a concept called as read capacity units for reads or RCUs and write capacity units or WCUs for the writes. Another thing is that if you are very much certain about the read and write or RCU and WCU of your DynamoDB table, then you can go with the reserved capacity. If you can predict your need for DynamoDB table reads and write throughput in a given AWS region, then use DynamoDB reverse capacity to reduce cost. So basically in the reverse capacity, you are making an upfront commitment on your base level of provision capacity. Okay. Another important decision here is to make is about table class. You need to choose the right table class for your DynamoDB table. So by default, it is a default one, which is called as DynamoDB standard. But if you think that there won't be much activity in your table and you are just using your DynamoDB table to store your data, then you can go with the DynamoDB standard infrequent access table class. This infrequent table class can reduce cost for tables that store data you don't access regularly. This is a good option if you require long-term storage of data that you don't use often, such as application logs or even your internal social media posts. But be aware that DynamoDB reads and writes for this table class are priced higher than the standard tables. Okay, now let's have a quick look at one of the configurations in the DynamoDB table. On the screen, you can see that I have a table called as test 15 and I am on the overview tab of this table. Here you can see first thing you need to know is what is the capacity mode. So on this screen, you can see that my capacity mode is provision, which means that whether I use it or not, I'm going to pay for it. Okay, so I need to be 100% sure that my read capacity units or RCUs and write capacity units, WCUs, are aligned with this provision capacity. And another thing you should make sure is about what is a table class. I'm using standard class. So it means that my data would be accessed frequently. And if I knew that my data won't be accessed frequently, then I should be using DynamoDB standard dash IA or infrequent access. Cool. And I'm not using any sort of replication here. So now how to know how much read and write capacity units I have provisioned. In the same screen, go to additional settings. In this additional settings, you can see that I am also using auto scaling because so that if it goes above my provision, then it won't get stuck there. Right now, I have provisioned 5 read capacity units and 5 write capacity units. Now, I can also check what is approximate capacity cost for these units. It is just under $3.50 US dollars per month. But as I said, this could add up quite quickly. Now, once that's done, how to know that how much exactly I am using? Because this screen only tells us that I have provisioned 5 of them. So I need to make sure that in actual over the time my application is indeed using around or less than 5 read capacity units or write capacity units. I shouldn't be using, like 1 or 2 read capacity units and wasting my 3 capacity units. And I shouldn't be using like 10 or 12 because I'll be paying higher rates as soon as it goes above my provision capacity units. For that, go to CloudWatch and then go to the metrics of this table. In that one, you will find 4 metrics: consumed read capacity units, provision read capacity units, consumed write, and provision write. Now, on the top section of the screen, let's first check the read capacity unit consumption. So if you hover on this orange provision read capacity unit, it will tell you you have 5 of them, and you can see it on your this axis 5. Now, when you go to this blue one, the consumed one, you can see that it is the blue line shows you that it is at the very bottom. So I'm not even using anything here. Same do with the right one. Go hover it on this orange one. It will show you that I have 5 of them provision. And when you go to the consumed one green, you see the green line is at the very bottom of x-axis. So it means I'm using 0 of them. So this table is over provisioned here. And we need to either convert it to the on demand or we should just reduce the number of read and write capacity units. And because and then you can also scale it up to more days. I have just selected 3 hours here. You can see for 1 week, 3 weeks, and if it is constantly staying at 0, then you should go back to the owner of this table and ask if they are indeed using it or not. If they are not, just terminate it, because the best way to save cost is to have no cost at all. So this is pretty much what you need to do to optimize your DynamoDB table. Um, and last but not least, make sure that you tag your DynamoDB table properly, because tagging for DynamoDB provides fine-grained visibility into your DynamoDB bill. You can assign tags to your tables and see cost breakdown per table to help with cost optimization by usage. And to see this data, you can either use AWS Cost Explorer, or you can use any third-party tool, and there are heaps of them in the market. I hope this was useful. If you have any feedback or comments, please put them in the comments. Thank you.